Ace Frehley has officially vowed to make Paul Stanley look like a, quote, imbecile when his new record drops this February. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back to another live stream tackling a little bit of Kiss today, as we mentioned off the top. And it looks like Ace Frehley just has a lot more to say in the press, a lot more to say in the media, as per usual. I would say, for Ace in this past year, Ace has been probably more vocal than ever when it comes to his gripes with Paul Stanley, his gripes with Gene Simmons, and overall just any issues that he seems to be having with Kiss and the Kiss camp. Now, we do have this clip coming from the Maximum Classic Rock radio show. So credit to 93.5 FM. I'm not sure where the station's out of, but they had an interview with Ace. And this is what Ace had to say about Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons. And of course, I may want to mention too that the reason he says he's going to make Paul look like an imbecile is because of the recent comments that Paul made about Ace's lack of technical playing abilities when it comes to the guitar. He's made many a comment slandering Ace's abilities, and Ace, I'm pretty sure, is going to bring those up right now in this clip. So let me play Ace because he can definitely say it better than I can.
Because, Paul and Gene have pretty much tried to destroy my credibility, by calling me a drunk and a drug addict and somebody who's not dependable. But if that were the case, how did I make 5 albums and been touring steadily for the last, 10 years plus? It doesn't make any sense. They contradict themselves all the time. Now they're putting me down and saying, if I came up and played with them on the farewell tour, it would mar their performance. Or, Paul said on the Howard Stern show, you might as well call the band instead of Kiss if I got up on stage with them, Well, when this album comes about, it's going to make him look like an imbecile.
I was going to say, let's focus on the positives. You talk about
So the interviewer cuts him off here. That was the end of Ace's answer. Now, just, shout out to the interviewer who got this. I always got love for my fellow hosts. But if you have a story like this, man, let the guy talk. You know what I mean? Don't cut him off and tell him to focus on the positive. I'd be like, yes, Ace, tell me more about your issues with Kiss. This dude just fucking chased away a great story. But, nonetheless, I definitely feel like there's a couple things to break down here when it comes to this story. So the first thing is that it seems like Ace Frehley has somewhat digested the comments that were made by Paul and Gene. And the reason I say it feels like he's digested it is because he sort of figured out what he wants to do in response to this. Really, all I was hearing from Ace before was just ambivalence when it came to this. Hopping on the radio, going on the Eddie Trunk show, saying that he's going to reveal some dirt about Gene and Paul, some sort of miscellaneous dirt that he never even said what it was actually about. And saying that he's going to do all these things sort of in retaliation and not really having a clear goal as to what he wanted to do. That was sort of the MO, I think, of Ace in this past sort of few months in the media, at least. He seemed to just be spraying reaction, and he didn't really seem to know what he wanted to accomplish from the reactions he was giving. Now it seems that he's actually digested these statements, and he's come to terms with the statements in the sense that he's using it as fuel. I really like this for Ace, guys. I actually think this is great for Ace because he's using this as a creative force. He's using this as a creative push to go ahead and make better albums, to go ahead and make better shows, to do better music, instead of just letting it sort of make him self-destruct and self-implode. He could really take this and focus on all the negatives. I know he sees Kiss selling out these arenas everywhere right now, and he's all in these cities where there's Kiss billboards of the current lineup, and they're far bigger than him in terms of scale. There's no denying that, right? And I love Ace. It's not an insult. It's just a fact. The reason I mention this is because this could be such a distraction to a guy who's looking at the negatives that he could completely ignore the positives and potentially even fall deeper than he was in the beginning with his issues and really fall down the rabbit hole. of addiction and go back to it, or whatever the case may be, depression or feeling not good enough. Instead, he's had all of these issues with the band. He's been put down so many times by Paul. I mean, Paul really, listen, Ace isn't perfect either, but Paul really knows how to put a guy down, man. He really knows how to put a guy down. And he's been doing it for years. Gene's been doing it for years. They do call him a drunk and a drug addict. They never really seem to give him credit for the fact that he is reportedly sober for, 16, 17 years from what I can understand. So I sort of understand both sides of it. But, the point, I think, is that I really like this for Ace in the sense that he's using it as creative fuel. He really sounds hungry. He sounds like he's determined to deliver a great record. And although I would expect that anyway, and I would hope for that to be his MO sort of anyway, in any case, this seems to have amplified it and put it up on another level. So I really think that this could potentially be a good thing for Ace. Paul said with Ace and Peter added to the band, we would have to change the name to Piss. Exactly. Blues Rockers. That is one of the things that they said. And, again, that's just disrespectful. Like, I mean, it's kind of funny. I understand, like, you got to be able to take a joke. But I feel like it would be more of a joke if they had a good rapport. It would be more of a joke if they were all good and they hadn't said all these nasty comments beforehand. It's, it almost feels like they're pretending to joke about it. They, as in, being Gene and Paul. If it's, many a truth are said in jest. They just censored Piss, I know. Saw Ace this year. He is not well. I don't know. I mean, that's sad to hear, Sarah. I feel like Ace, he can still perform, but I wasn't there. I'm not gonna, put words in your mouth. If you're telling me he wasn't well, if you're telling me he didn't seem well, I got to take your word for it. Ace loves stirring up drama. TFT, 100%. I completely agree. Just reading from the chat here. Ace is neither boozing or on pills. That's what he claims. He definitely, and I get it. Sometimes I'm so honest and so off the cuff that I sound disrespectful. That's not the goal here. But if you're asking me to be 100% honest, I think Ace definitely sounded a little like buzzed up on that Eddie Trunk interview. So that was concerning to me. I mean, the fact that he even thought that was a good idea, or that, like, I still can't understand that thought process of, I'm going to call a radio show and threaten my former employers to release dirt on them on this show unless they give me an apology for what they said. It's just, the whole thing is bizarre. Ace is on everything. I don't know about that, TFT. I don't know about that. But, I mean, he definitely didn't sound like he wasn't on something. The thought process of that exchange was not the thought process of a rational person. So there has to be something else going on there. It doesn't necessarily have to be drugs. Again, I congratulate Ace for the amount of time he spent sober. I don't doubt that he spent decades sober. I'm just saying I really hope he didn't have a slip, because that was a concerning interview, that Eddie Trunk interview. That was probably one of the most shocking things I've ever reported on in the rock world. It's just as bizarre. But that's the comment from Ace, guys, about Paul. And look, this whole thing, it's just sad to me, man. Look, I'm going to see Kiss probably here in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. I thought I saw the last show that I was ever going to see from them. I went to the first show at the end of the road tour, the opening night, Vancouver I think it was 2020. First day of 2020 or 2019. I can't exactly remember. It was just after New Year's Eve that I saw them. And that was my final goodbye. And now I'm going to go say another goodbye in a couple weeks here in my city. Do I feel like it would be better with Ace? Absolutely. Do I feel like that's feasible? Not really. Not really when it comes to the way that they. I mean, I think the last interaction Paul and Ace had was Paul telling Ace to go fuck himself, right? So I don't really feel like there's room for that. The only thing I could really, and when I say for that, by the way, I mean for like a nightly appearance by Ace on this tour. You know, I'm out in Canada. Like the idea of seeing Ace on this show or any original member in any capacity is just ludicrous. It's not going to happen in any secondary market. The only thing I could see happening is the New York show, the Final Kiss show that's coming up, the supposed Final Kiss show. I could definitely see that bringing maybe an appearance from Ace and Peter. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, guys. If it doesn't, it's gonna be a disgrace. If it doesn't, it's gonna be, I don't know how to describe it. When all four members are alive, like when all the guys are alive, I feel like it's so disrespectful to all these bands who like wish they had the original lineups. The guys have died, and you know, somebody got sick, somebody got injured, somebody this, somebody that. It's just, there's a lot of these bands that the original members aren't even alive anymore. So I think the fact that they're even here, they should do something together. One with the old rock bands. Oh yeah, their farewell tours are never the last ones with the old rock bands. Yeah, that's true. That is true, but you still have to end eventually. Ace has a steel plate in his jaw from gang fighting before joining Kiss. I never knew that. That's crazy. Wouldn't everyone rather see Led Zeppelin with Jimmy Page, even if John 5 could play it better? Absolutely. That's a good point. Play some live clips of each band for comparison. Okay, let's do it. Yeah, let's look at Ace. So Ace Frehley Live 2023. There's this one from 2 weeks ago. Hey, shout out Nigel, my buddy Nigel, Facebook friend, filmed this video that I'm trying to pull it up for you so you guys can see it too. So there's this one. I'm going to try to get one more recent than 2 weeks. 1 day ago. Let's see how Ace is sounding 1 day ago. Assuming that the quality is passable. I'm hoping it is. I guess it's all cut up. I'm just trying to see one of Ace singing. But hey, that's a good idea though. The fact that he's actually having his other band members sing is a really, really good call. When you're 72 years old, man, you can't be expected to take on an entire night of vocal duty. That's just unfair. Not even Kiss themselves do it, man. Not even Kiss does it. You know, they go back, all four of them sing. All four of them sing throughout the night. You cannot expect Ace to sing for an hour and a half. That's ridiculous. So good on, I don't know who's actually in his band at this exact moment, but good on his bandmates for that. Let's see if we can get some of Ace singing. I do want to catch a little bit of this before we move on. Such an incredible song. I love this song. They sound fucking good. Hey. They sound good. Where's my applause? Shout out Ace Frehley. Does the Rolling Stones still tour? Yeah, Rolling Stones are on tour right now, Jordan. Mick Jagger looking better than ever. I just saw his Instagram post today. He was at a football game. They were honoring the band or something. Incredible. No, Ace sounds really good. Ace sounds really, really good. I don't have any issues with that. Now, let's see how Kiss is sounding right now before we move on to the next little story. That was really good. I'm impressed. So, Kiss, they were in Australia. Where's Kiss been? I haven't been looking at any of these videos lately. What has Kiss been up to? What is the gang up to, man? My fucking dogs. It's been a while. It's been a while since I was really down the Kiss rabbit hole, man. I spent so many years. I spent so many years. I feel like you need a break after a while, but let's go to this one. This one looks pretty good, right? Full concert. Oh, I'm not going to play that ad. If you guys are enjoying the stream, man, make sure to hit that like button, by the way. It goes a really long way in helping these streams reach more people. I would really appreciate that, guys. Okay, let's see how they're sounding. Ah, no, this quality is terrible. We can't listen to that. Wow. The stage looks fucking insane. Holy shit. Wait, did they change the stage? This looks incredible. Oh yeah, they got a bigger screen behind them. No Kiss logo on the stage. I want to hear a little more. Yeah, I like that. I love that. I can't wait to go see Kiss, man. And I was trying to play it cool, too. I don't know if you guys saw my videos, like when they first announced the show in my city. I was trying to play it cool, be like, I've seen Kiss, and maybe I won't go. You guys know goddamn well I'm going to see Kiss, man. Quit playing around.
Look, it's rock and roll.
Okay. Let's find. I want to hear a little more Paul. I know Gene can sing. I want to hear Paul though. Maybe he's singing less now. The Kiss logo goes up on the screen. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Although I do like the big Kiss logo. That I wouldn't mind if they had that under Eric. That would be nice if they had that. So Paul's barely singing. Holy shit. I don't know if he's lip syncing though. That's the only thing. Why do I feel like he's kind of playing a track on this one? It sounds good though. I don't really care. Guys, at this stage in the game, can we really afford to care? That's really the question that I have. Like, look. For me, it's if there's a greasy wheel, you put some grease on it, right? That's where I stand. These guys are over 70, bro. Once you are over 70, and I know a lot of people have different opinions on this. I've talked to people in metal bands that say, no, if you can't cut it, stay the fuck off the stage. If it's not 100% authentic, stay off stage. For me, if there's a greasy wheel, you got to grease it. And if you can still perform, if you could still pull it off, if you could still do a great show and you could sing most of it or whatever, then do it. And the reason I say that is because I think of the little kids. So look, Kiss did their, alleged farewell in 2000. They were going to do their farewell in 2000, right? They never did. A lot of people said Kiss should have retired in 2000. But my first Kiss concert, I'm a younger guy, was in 2008, right? So all those people who had checked out of Kiss in 2000, there's a lot of them. But none of them are relevant. And if they would have had their way, I would have never had my Kiss magic in 2008. And as a kid, having that magic was one of the greatest parts of my childhood. So the idea that other young people, especially for me, would be deprived from that magic is wrong. As long as they can pull it off, and if they can, at this point, I feel like it's bigger than just a band. They have a show, and it's a show that I feel like needs to go on by any means. ME says each leg of the tour has a variation of the original End of the Road tour stage. The version they revealed this week is really big. Okay, cool. Very cool. Because, again, I saw the first show, so I saw the prototype. Jordan says he doesn't want to go see Kiss because he's seen them 4 times and he doesn't want it ruined. You know, Jordan, that's sort of what I mean when I was talking about the playing it cool about this show coming. It's not that I was trying to play it cool. I'm very open if I'm excited about something. I don't see any shame in being excited about something. But that was definitely part of it, Jordan, for me. Just because, again, I've said my goodbyes sort of, and I was told that the last time I saw them was really going to be it. At the same time, though, they seem to have this youthful sort of glow about them right now. Like, even look at this footage in the background. They're just fucking going for it, man. Like, they're in it. And I feel like they're going to put on a really good show. That's honestly what I think. The farewell tour isn't Kiss. It's a tribute to Ace and Peter. Yeah, it was a farewell. The farewell tour in 2000, Blues was a farewell to Ace and Peter. Absolutely. He's sinking for sure. Yeah, I think so. At least he's putting on a show. Exactly. You guys get what I'm saying, man. You guys get what I'm saying. Okay, so we're going to pull this next one up here. Whoops. Clicking on random tabs. Who knows what that would have been. So we're going to lock in with this next one to add to it. And this is sort of Paul's statement about the original Kiss doing some kind of sort of reunion for the final tour. I think I've made my opinion on this and my stance on this incredibly clear. I am 1,000% for it. I think it's a robbery and a complete injustice to not only the fans if he doesn't do it, but to the legacy of Kiss. I feel like it would be just so wrong if Ace and Peter didn't grace the stage at least once on the End of the Road tour. I think it would just be absolutely disgraceful. But Paul Stanley has made his stance on this quite clear as well. In an interview that he did, who was the interview with? Ultimate Classic Rock. Look at them getting their own interview. He admits that his former bandmates are not in the cards for the final tour. That's what he says. Drugs work fantastic when you want to feel young. I think that depends on the drug, T, but I hear what you're saying. Paul says, quote, "This tour is a celebration of the band and the life of the band over the past 50 years. It's not a celebration of the original lineup. As important as the original lineup was, I can say that we wouldn't be here today if not for them, and we wouldn't be here today with them." The same old quote, right? So that's basically seems to be how Paul feels about it. He says, of course, he also said if you saw people on stage who looked like Kiss but sounded so bad, they'd have to be called Piss. And that was, of course, the situation that ignited this whole Ace Frehley fire in the first place. So that's Paul's sort of MO, guys. It seems like he's just done. And look, I can't blame him. When, you know, as much as I feel like it's the right choice for the fans to have Ace and Peter come back, I also understand why Paul and Gene would want nothing to do with these guys. Ace and Peter are incredible musicians, and they're incredible in terms of what they did and what they created with Kiss. But Ace and Peter, from what I can sort of glean and what I can understand, are two incredibly challenging people to work with. They're definitely two very challenging individuals from what I can tell from the outside perspective. I would say the same applies for Gene and Paul, if we're being completely frank. But I think Ace and Peter's level of difficulty is different because I think it's hard to manage. Gene and Paul, I think, are difficult to work with in the sense that it's their way or the highway, but there's no difficulty in management. They know exactly what they want, and they know how they're going to get it, and they execute it. Ace and Peter was not, those guys were not an easy situation to manage based on their managers, based on Gene and Paul, based on everything that everybody has said throughout the years of Kiss. So as sad as it is, and as much as I feel like they belong on this final tour because of what they created with Kiss, I understand why Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, and especially Doc McGee, who is still their manager to this day, who on that farewell tour and Psycho Circus tour had to deal with their nonsense. They're not showing up to shows, missing multiple flights across the country, walking in as the curtain is dropping for the show. I mean, I wouldn't want anything to do with that either, especially if I was, Doc McGee. I'm the manager of this band still. I got the same gig, but all of my problem, I guess you could say, employees are gone, right? Like, imagine if you got to go to work today. Picture your job at home. You get to go to work tomorrow, but all the coworkers you've ever had trouble with are gone. And they're replaced by new workers who are capable of doing the same job, but are better to deal with. Why would you ever want to bring the old workers back? Somebody could tell you, well, they were here for the inception of this company. And they are, the nostalgia, I get it. I get both sides. But you got to understand, why would you want to bring that individual back? So that's really what I think about this whole situation with Ace and Peter. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. M says there's a 0% chance of Ace and Peter returning. Paul and Gene are wrapping up a 5-year tour with a grand finale at MSG. Why would they give Ace and Peter the spotlight after all that? I completely agree. Paul has a crush on Tommy Thayer. Oh, my goodness. Paul has a crush on himself. I agree with that. Paul definitely has a crush on himself. So this sort of just popped up as I was prepping for the stream, and I have never even got the chance to take a look at this story yet. Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley are being sued over the death of their guitar tech who passed away on the road. And I'm not going to use the word of the virus because I don't want to get us demonetized on this video, but he died of a virus, and you know what the virus was. So this was Fran Stuber. This is him on the right, and this was Kiss's longtime guitar tech. Many, many years he was Kiss's guitar tech, in particular for Paul. I actually had this man on Facebook. I had Fran on Facebook, and I think a lot of people in the Kiss community just sort of did. They knew him just because he was very interactive with the fans. Definitely a big part of the Kiss community overall. He was on the road with them, and rumor has it he contracted the virus while on the road. They had strict precautions in place for the Kiss tour while the virus was going on, and I guess that they weren't strict enough. He contracted the virus and was found passed away in his hotel room the next day. Very strange story. I've always thought the whole story was very suspicious and just bizarre. You know, you don't really hear. You heard, quite frankly, and I'm not, I'm not jumping on either side of the fence, but you've heard a lot more sudden deaths from vaccine usage than you did from COVID. There, I just said the word. Now they're going to demonetize us. But really, I mean, you would hear people, just having heart attacks and not being there alive in the morning. But from the virus, that was, from what I understand, quite rare at the time in August 2021. So the family of Fran says that the virus started spreading amongst tour personnel in August 2021 when Paul contracted the virus. So Paul was, I guess, the first person to bring the virus into the camp. In the suit, Francis's family says that anyone on the tour who came down with the virus was instructed to quarantine in a hotel room in whichever city the band was in, but they say the protocols offered little else. Well, what are you supposed to offer exactly? That's that's really the question I have. I don't think much else was offered for anyone. When we were locked down into our homes, there was no guidebook that came with it. There was no manual. There was just good luck. Good luck and stay safe. I don't see how KISS, of all people, should be the ones with an answer to this. Nobody had an answer to what was happening at this time. This was the most unknown time that we've probably ever collectively had. So the suit says that Fran got the virus while in Detroit and was told to hole up in a Sheraton hotel. And the family says KISS's longtime manager, Doc McGee, failed to arrange for medical personnel to visit and examine Francis at the hotel despite Doc promising to do so. Now, that's concerning. Okay, so there. I guess if you can give me examples of what else they were supposed to do, I guess, okay, having a doctor come check on your staff would be crucial. That would be critical, absolutely. So the doctor says that Doc McGee asked another tour member to check on Francis at the hotel, but Francis was deceased by the time the person arrived, dying only 2 days after the positive test from the virus. Very, very bizarre. Francis's family is going after Gene, Paul, Doc, Marriott Hotels, and Live Nation for damages. So they're suing everybody. TMZ has reached out to KISS's reps for comment, and they have not heard back so far. Yeah, man, this is a really sad story. Rest in peace to Fran. I think that's ultimately the sort of that has to be the takeaway. I think people forget when things start to get muddled like this and there's lawsuits and there's this and that. People forget that at the core of this, there was a man, not just a man, there's a life that was lost, right? So we got to say rest in peace to Fran. Very sad situation. I don't see this lawsuit. Actually, I was going to say I don't know if it's going to hold water, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait on this one to actually give my thoughts on whether or not this will go through. Because it's just such uncharted waters. We don't really know what this is going to end up in, and they could be liable for some pretty serious stuff. Gene and Paul might be getting into some trouble. They might be getting into some trouble. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. If you think there's any liability. In my opinion, I feel like there's a level of liability, but I think that more so comes in the fact that they were even touring. I think that's the liability. It's not like you have to tour, right? You don't have to be on tour at that moment. I know they postponed a lot of shows, but maybe they should have postponed more. I know they were doing meet and greets through a sheet of plastic for a while. They were standing behind a piece of plastic or glass and they had fans in front. Just ridiculous. I think that was unnecessary. maybe that's the issue. Maybe Live Nation will get sued for putting those shows on in the first place and even having these large-scale gatherings in the first place at that time. Definitely an interesting issue. Definitely an interesting issue. I appreciate you guys logging in for the stream. Most of these streams are the stream archive. It goes to the channel members only. That will exempt streams like this where it's actually titled about a news story and it has a thumbnail. All my other streams where I just, name it like, hey, what's up, going live, and we're just on here talking shit about a bunch of topics, that will all be in the members only stream archive. But this is going to remain public as long as they don't take it down. If you want to access my members only stream archive and a bunch of other exclusive fresh content as well that you can only access as a member of Cassius Morris Official, click that join button down below and become a channel member. A lot of great content on there. A lot of exclusive streams, a lot of exclusive videos, and of course the opportunity to get unlimited line skips in my music streams to the top of the lineup so you don't have to wait. So there's a lot of good perks being offered for our channel members. So definitely make sure to check that out, guys. We'll catch you guys in the next couple days. Take care, stay safe. Peace.